Welcome to another week of the Cool Tools Show and Tell. Our special guest this time is Howard Rheingold, somebody that I have known for a very long time. And I'm always so eager to talk to Howard and hear the cool things that he knows about, not just tools, but other stuff. So Howard, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Kevin was kind enough to invite me to be the interim editor of the Whole Earth Review, and he went off to write a book, and he never came back. That
Yes.
was a fun 4 years, and then let's see. Myself, I used to write books. Tools for Thought, 1985, Smart Mobs, 2002, and Net Smart, 2012 are the ones that I would mention. And I taught students about social media literacies and social media issues at Berkeley and Stanford for 10 years. And I haven't been writing books or teaching students, but mostly making art and learning electronics and learning woodworking these days.
Yeah, you're a lifelong learner. I mean, those books were really an excuse to get paid to learn. And here you are teaching yourself the craft of making stuff. And I can see so many things in the background, and maybe at the end we'll get a little bit of a tour of what you're up to and what you've been learning. But in all this making, you must have uncovered some cool tools. So what's a tool that you would hate to lose?
Okay, I'm going to start with one that I can't show you.
Okay.
It's CopyPaste Pro for the Mac. And I don't understand why Apple only allows you to copy or cut one item to the clipboard at a time. And Ted Nelson, by the way, really has a rant about the clipboard. He calls it the abominable hidey hole. Anyway, CopyPaste Pro for the Mac, it's inexpensive. I think it's around 30 something dollars. Allows you to maintain the last 200 things that you've cut or copied, whether they are words or images. And it also enables you to set up sets of clips that you use often. You
Right.
have directions to your house. So I don't understand how I live without it. The way Google is sometimes an exteriorization of your memory. You
Uh-huh.
don't remember something, but you remember something about it, and Google will help remind you of it. Well, CopyPaste Pro, I can look back through the last several days of what I've been doing, and it's amazing how much it reminds me of things that
Wow.
I have temporarily forgotten. So I highly recommend it. I've used it for years and years.
Do you use type expanders as well?
I do for things like credit card information and stuff like that.
Or for shortcuts, words that you constantly type the same? Do you do that?
I use shortcuts, but probably not as much. Nowhere near as much as I used CopyPaste Pro.
Okay. All right.
I do have something I use for shortcuts. Type it for me. I use
Right. Type it for me. Right. Yeah.
yeah, and that's good. You can set up all kinds of things and edit them and give them keywords.
Right.
Uh,
Key
so
keystrokes.
here's something more tangible. I use for painting. I use acrylics, which is water based, and if you leave your brush lying around, it dries, and you've ruined a brush. But if you put it in a cup of water, the brush distorts on the bottom.
Words.
So here you've got this thing that fits into a reservoir of water, and you can see you can lower these in there and put the water in, and it will keep them indefinitely. So
They don't
I use
rust.
it every day.
The
What?
metal parts don't rust or anything. of the
No, I mean,
brushes?
I've been using this for years, so
Uh-huh.
I guess it's stainless steel.
I meant the brushes.
Oh, the brushes. No,
They don't
no, but
disintegrate.
a secret that I if I isn't not a secret to most painters, but when I'm using acrylics, and I take it out of the water, I want to make sure that I dry out the ferrule, the metal part you mentioned that
Yeah,
right here, because water likes to hide out in there, and I'm painting something, and suddenly a big drop
I see.
comes off the brush and messes up what I'm doing.
So, so you dry them off before you start using them, but they're sitting in water the entire time in between.
yes, yeah, and then
That's
I just take it and I brush it on a towel a couple of
right,
times to
right,
dry
right.
it and dip it
Okay.
in the paint.
And do you have, do you care what kind of paint brand that you use, or is it all kind of the same? You buy whatever is on sale, or do you have any preference in brands of acrylic?
This is a place that I originally saw in Paris called Sennelier. That
Okay.
sells. They sell both oils and acrylics, but their acrylic brand is one that I I found to be the best. But you can get crazy about that. It depends on what you're making. You can get less expensive kinds for other projects, but I like to use the best.
And it's best in what way? What is superior about it?
Um, there's the texture of it is important. Comes out of the tube, and it's kind of like the way oil paint looks. So some acrylics are more liquidy. I like to add liquid if I want it to be more liquidy. Um,
You like something that's more firmer. You like a firmer paint.
yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh. I know that for one time you did some research on pigments because, of course, that's what a acrylic or oil paint is. It's ground up pigments. It's not a dye. There's
yeah,
a physical thing that's put into a binder and made into
yeah,
paint.
yeah.
Uh,
You can get kits for making them, and the most expensive part is this glass. This piece of finely ground glass that you use to grind the powder. You grind the powder, and then you add um, either water or oil to make it oil paint or acrylic paint.
wow. Because I would imagine that part of the price in the paints is going to be how much the pigments cost.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
and how much they put in.
And
So
it's amazing. Some of those pigments come from like lapis lazuli, ground up
traditionally, yeah,
semi-precious stones.
traditionally, yeah, that was true. Um, so Howard, so you have the painting clip. Is that a particular kind or brand, or is that just a generic thing? Your paintbrush holder that you showed.
Yeah, yeah. I got mine on Amazon.
So is
I made one before, but it wasn't as good
is
as
there a particular brand or model number? Are there more than one of them, or do you have any preference?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that part.
Okay, so just find one on Amazon.
Yeah.
And what are they called? Brush holders, brush rack,
I think brush cleaner,
brush
brush cleaner,
cleaner.
brush cleaner holder. But
Okay.
this is a little bit of a digression here, and I don't have them immediately at hand. But do you know about Anish Kapoor and the Super Black?
Yeah.
So he tried to assert ownership of
Right.
it. And
Right.
then there's another fellow by name of Stuart Semple in England
Right.
who was angry about that. So he made a blacker black, and he asserted ownership, but licensed everybody but Anish Kapoor. Uh, and he's now made some iridescent isn't quite the word. He's made some paints. They're pigments that the color depends on what angle you are when you
Uh-huh.
look at it. So
Wow. I know that there's also people making super whites as well as super blacks.
yeah, he makes super white as well, and also a kind of a mirror paint.
Wow.
You
Wow.
paint it, it gives you a very reflective mirror-like surface. His website is culturehustle.com, And it's kind of fun because he has these little video rants about, he's very enthusiastic about what he does. He's sort of a eccentric British alchemist.
Okay, we'll put that in the show notes. So, Howard, do you have another cool tool you want to share?
Oh, yes. So, this is the box. I spilled some water on it. From Lie-Nielsen Toolworks,
Okay.
LIE. And this is like something that you tell your family to get you for Christmas because they're expensive, but they're extremely fine tools. This is a
Oh,
this
wow.
plane is a couple $100, and
Wow.
you can shave shavings that are a thousandth of an inch thick, and you can read type through them.
Wow.
You gotta learn how to sharpen them and adjust them, and that's a whole thing. And once you get it going right, it's for example, uh, real experts use these rather than extremely fine sandpaper to get a really fine texture on wood. So if you're working wood and you like to use hand tools, Lie-Nielsen will come up eventually. They make all kinds of tools, chisels.
Hmm.
Um, a sharp chisel is a wonderful thing, and what else do they make? And I have another present from Santa from my family was uh, a file. So there are fine woodworking files that remove more wood than sandpaper does.
Hmm.
When you want to shape something, uh,
Right, right, right.
for example.
So
And
going back to the hand plane or the palm plane almost that
yeah.
you were using, what you said you could use that like if you wanted to instead of sandpaper on a surface, particularly if it was a flat surface. What other kinds of things do you use it for?
Well, if you need to remove some wood to make something fit, and you want to remove it a small amount, obviously, or you would use a saw. Um, this will give you you can do it a thousandth of an inch at a
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So when you're trying to fit things together tightly, it can help a lot. So sandpaper doesn't remove much. It's a lot of work to get things down to the right size with sandpaper, and you can use a planer for larger amounts, but for really fine amounts. Also, you can flatten things. So if you've got a bowed uh, or warped board, you can run a straight edge over it and see where it's up and where it's down, and then you can plane the up
Hmm.
parts. So sometimes that's the only way to fix them. Then you can run it through a planer. Running it through a planer is not going to fix it.
Right, right. Okay. Um, and this one, this the one you're recommending is better than say an ordinary Chinesium one is because the quality of the blade or the mechanism for adjusting what is
Well,
superior about this one?
I think all of it because you've got this brass knurled
Uh-huh.
adjuster here, and yes, and this of course is extremely flat, uh,
Okay.
and it's just you could when you feel it. Oh, I've got some paint on it here. When you feel it, um, it's very smooth. It's nice. I assume stainless steel here. It's fairly heavy.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They
Okay.
have large ones that people, that are like
Right, 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 right.
people use, and some people make their own planes. But the blade is all important, and
Right,
so a good blade, well sharpened, is what makes the
right,
difference.
right. Okay. So we'll have a link again for that particular one. So Howard, what else are you
Um,
finding yourself?
okay, so I spend a fair amount of time with my trees because I've got three apricot trees, an apple tree, a pear tree, and a plum tree, and Uh, it always freaks me out a little bit when I'm up on the ladder and my wife is gone. I think, oh God, she's going to find me. And she'll say, well, he died doing what he loved. So this thing here,
Oh, wow.
this is a Fiskars pole
Oh,
pruner. And it's hard to show the entire length, but it will extend up to 12 feet. You flip this thing,
yeah.
and you can pull this way out and back again. And sometimes, you know when you're cutting a limb, you want it the blade to be perpendicular to the limb.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to do that, but you can flip this and
Oh,
get a right angle on it. I love this. I use this tool a lot. And then you do the pruning by pulling this thing. And
uh-huh.
it's way up there, and it's beyond reach. You've got this cord that you can pull. And I've tried a number of these things, and this is by far the best one of all.
And it's called a Fiskar, like the scissors, Fiskar,
Yeah,
um, extended pruner or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
really good.
you mentioned The Office. Um, somebody used this three-dimensional panoramic app to do a three-dimensional panoramic view of my office,
Oh, I see. Yes.
and it's got hotspots in it, so you can navigate by dragging it around, or you
Uh-huh.
can click on these big circles and go through and see it from the other side. And it's got a lot of hotspots where the things you see here, I've put a hotspot and you click on it and you can see a video or some text or a link to
Uh-huh.
something. Matterport is the company that does this.
Yes,
Something
yes.
they do for real estate a lot.
Right. I tried to use I borrowed one to try and do my studio, but it was an early version of it, and we have a split floor, and that kind of threw it off because it couldn't quite grok the fact that um the, part of it was a cathedral ceiling and with two stories, and part of it was one story. So but they've gotten a lot better, the Matterports, and I actually have a nephew who now works for them too. So uh, I'll put a link for people to take a tour of Howard's studio, which you see a hotspot. Do you have little annotations about what things are?
I have annotations, I have videos, I have links to longer
Right.
uh,
So
sites.
it's just as maybe even better than visiting you in Mill Valley because you get the tour.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've gotten a lot of good reaction on this from
All
people.
right.
You kind of a look inside my brain. So just a quick look at some other stuff I've got here. I have a grandson. He's 18 months old, and I've been making blocks for him. And so I buy blocks, and then I drill holes in the blocks and insert magnets and put wood filler over that. If I was going to do another one of these, I would. Wood filler is very useful. And then I put gesso over that and paint it. And so he likes to play with these things like this.
Wow. So and so you start with a piece of wood, you drill a hole, you put a magnet in with epoxy, I guess, and then you cover it with wood filler so you can't see it. Then you have paint around it, and you
Yeah,
have your own custom personalized blocks.
yeah.
Is there any issue with food grade paint, or I mean, little
Well,
toddlers?
Crayola makes a kind of acrylic paint that they say is non-toxic.
Non-toxic. Okay.
There's nothing is completely safe, and I really didn't give them to him until he stopped putting things in his mouth.
Okay.
But for finish beeswax.
Oh, wow.
So that,
Beeswax with some kind of solvent, or is it? I mean, it must be
it's
linseed oil or something.
natural beeswax, and at room temperature, it's gooey. Or you
That's
can
not.
buy
Yeah,
blocks of beeswax, but this is soft and it's got
yeah, yeah. Some kind of solvent in there.
yeah,
Um, so that's what you coat on the outside.
yeah. After the paint dries.
Wow, that's really cool. So tell us more about what you are working on. You've got these blocks, and you're doing a puzzle too.
Yeah, I'm making a puzzle. So if you can imagine two more of these, one in shades of purple and one in shades of red. These are also magnetic. It's kind of weakly held here so that you put it together. And then you can make various
You
things.
can't quite see it. Could you hold up a little higher? Okay.
So you can make stuff with it, make different patterns. Hello.
And those, it looks like they're square cube blocks that are glued together just to make those little other.
Yeah, yeah. So I do the same thing, but I glue the blocks together. I just start with the plain blocks and glue them
Why
together.
do you do that instead of cutting them out of solid wood?
Easier, just easier to
Okay.
they're uniform size.
Okay.
I'm also I don't have anything to show you, but I'm making a wagon now. Every boy needs a wagon, don't you think?
Well,
So
so you want, yeah, I mean, you can make it really cool with big fat wheels, or it could be really long. I don't know. What kind of wagon are you gonna make?
it's a small wagon, and trying to figure out the mechanism for how does that handle work. So I'm putting casters on it, so you don't have to worry about turning it. But the way to attach the handle, I found out, you find this stuff online. You look at what other people do.
Uh-huh.
You take two eye bolts and you put a dowel through the eye bolts and then attach the handle to that. Then it will naturally swivel. A lot of, I never was much of a maker until I guess I don't know about 10 years ago or so. I got my Burning Man camp friends kind of drew me into it. Um, but there are so many ways to learn how to make things online now. It's fantastic. Once you get the basic training on the tools and you want to build something, there are more examples than you can use of how to do it. And I think it makes me think about Stack Exchange. That
Hmm.
site that programmers use if you got a problem or a bug or something. Someone else has already solved it. How did they do programming before that? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
understand.
yeah. Well, they didn't do a very good job, and there was a very specialized for those who could kind of photographically remember all these things. But now everybody Googles or YouTubes them for everything. Um,
So, so here are the things that I'm making with wood and electronics. This one I painted it all black, but some of them are finished wood. Um, I made these. I've done a bunch of hexagonal things because there's a router bit you can get that
oh,
will cut wood at exactly the right angle that you can put it together, and it makes a hexagon. Um,
I think it's like a 60-degree angle bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I have inside it is a NeoPixel strip that you get from Adafruit.
What I don't know what that is. What's a neopixel strip?
So, LEDs are really, really bright and they don't take very much power. And so there's a site called Adafruit, which
Yeah.
I love because they have the greatest business model, which is um, they have, I don't know, thousands of how-tos, how to make things with circuit diagrams and with code libraries, and then they sell you the parts. Um, so you get you get the instructions for free, and you pay for the parts, and it's very addictive because the parts are like $5 or $25. Then there's a Arduino microcontroller is what controls how the lights work. And Arduinos were made actually by some engineers who were teaching uh, design students at a school in Italy. Arduino was the name of the bar where they hung out at, and they wanted to make something that would enable artists and craftspeople who are not engineers to make interactive art. You know, lights that light up, and some of the things I have uh, uh, infrared sensors, so you can change it by moving your hand in
Hmm.
front of it, and make motors move and things like that. So they made this microcontroller uh, for that purpose, and it's pretty easy. I'm not much of a electronics expert, um, and it's about $25.
Right. So you go to Adafruit and you can look around this. If you had something in your head you wanted to try, some kind of blinking lights or something that flashes to sound, you would look through their tutorials and you say, "Oh, there's one that somebody's already done this," and here's the parts in a kit form, and you get both, and then you just assemble it.
Yeah, and then you got to download some software. They have a it's called an IDE. It's a piece of software that enables you to move code in and out of it using a USB. You can also power it with USB, or you
Hmm.
can power it with batteries. All of these are powered with USB that's plugged in.
Right.
Um, and for example, with the pixel strips, there are a number of different. You can kind of see some of the things in the back are kind of throbbing, and some of them are going
Yeah.
around in
Yeah.
circles, and some of them are changing. So that you can download code that has 5 or 6 different functions, and then you can just comment out the functions you don't want. So I couldn't write one of these from scratch, but I can mess with them, and I think that opens it up to people who want to tinker, and they want to make art, and they're not much of a coder. Um,
That's really cool. Yeah, because it kind of like if I thought about, well, I'm going to try and, make something, program some lights in and something, that's like, that seems like a big project to me. But you're saying, no, no, there is a kind of a shortcut here, which is you go to Adafruit and there's probably someone who's done this already. And you can kind of look through there and then you can tweak. If it's not quite what you want, you can tweak what they've done and make it work for yourself.
there's a magic moment where you've gone through all of this soldering and trying to see whether that you've connected things in the right way, and then you
Uh,
download this code, and you run it, and bang, these lights go on. It's really it's a exciting feeling.
well, that's really great. And we'll have a link for that as well. Unless and it's Adafruit basically that is the source for these.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, you can get Chinese ones less expensively.
but they probably don't have the instructions.
That's right. You got
Yeah.
to roll your own on that, and you can get them on Amazon as well. But I like to get them from Adafruit, and you can make your wish lists and come back to it
Uh-huh.
later when you know you want to do something.
So you're making these blocks and these arts. Do you sell your stuff on Etsy or anything?
I saw one thing a few years ago. I made a video about it. It's a dream. It was a dreaming kit. So
Uh-huh.
I made a box, and when you open the box, it plays uh, Eric Satie's Gymnopédie.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
in the box are herbs that you use to like for your tea if you're
Uh-huh.
going to dream, and other uh, dreaming
Herbs.
essentials. That's about the only thing that I've sold.
I
The,
see.
the problem is I don't want to part with something that I put that much work into for a small amount of money, and the amount of money I want is I don't really have a name, so it's
uh So, anyways, short answer is no. You don't really have an Etsy shop. And you're not really kind of making things for that.
No, but you know, I use a couple of swag shops. I use Society 6 and Redbubble to
Uh-huh.
to make things that for my own interest. I could go get something for a second. So this is a painting that I made, and here's a hardbound notebook. So I give these away to people. Also, here's another painting I made, and it's on a pouch. I use when I go babysit my grandson. I have these pouches full of things to distract his attention, and I found that I can change his mood very, very easily by opening this and taking out something.
And, and that's just a one of you just had a white pouch and you painted it right onto it. That
Well, let's see. So you upload your designs, and then they got everything from coasters to
oh, I see.
bed duvets, you
And
know,
and they just make
towels.
you can make just one of them. And-
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, you order. Anyone can order. You can sell them. I mean, I'm not really interested in
right, right.
selling mine, but I'm interested in buying them myself. So you enable your design on 100 different kinds of products that
And
they
what's
have.
it called? What's that site called?
Okay, so there's two of them that I use for different things. One is called Redbubble. The
Redbubble,
other, and the other one is Society 6, and the 6 is a numeral, not a word.
Society 6 and Redbubble.
And you know, you can I don't really use them as a consumer, but if you're interested in looking at designs that are made
Uh-huh.
by artists, you know, most of whom are a lot more professional than I am, and you want it's a good thing for presents and stuff.
Right. And so they would have, your kind of coffee mugs and t-shirts, but they also have these other things like this pouch or what are some of the other things that you've used?
Based on a painting I made of the Balinese Garuda. It's a tote
Wow.
bag. A tote bag.
Wow. You have your
These are
own.
really useful. So, you know, I've got my juggling balls
Uh-huh.
for distraction or in the tote bag, and I put the blocks in, and then when I go over and I put this
Could you
down,
hold it up again, Howard, so I can see that? So it's the same thing on both sides.
yeah,
So like how much would something like that roughly cost?
I think it's around $20,
Uh-huh.
$5.
And so you just you do a scan of your picture of your art, and then that's uploaded to the site, and then you order, I want a tote bag, two please, and then they make them for you.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I love it.
Wow, that's really great. I was in your house and I noticed that you had a chair, an upholstered dining room chair that was covered in a fabric that I think you did something similar to.
Yeah, so actually, I did automatic drawing on an acid trip, and
Okay.
just did that while I was talking, and I liked the design. And I printed out the fabric. What's the name of
Oh, spoon, no,
spoonflower?
moonflower. Yeah.
So you upload your designs, and then you can do things with the designs. You can tile them in different ways,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and then you can make everything from well, they have wallpaper, and
Yeah.
they have fabrics. And the fabrics you can get fine silk, or you can get really rough cotton. So you select the
Uh-huh.
design, you lay it out, you select the fabric, and you select the amount that you want. So um, we liked this design that I painted, so we had it printed out and brought it to an upholsterer and had them make upholstered chairs for us.
That's really cool. That is so cool. So awesome. I just love the way it's sort of like not just art that you hang, it's art that you use in a certain sense. It's really great.
Yeah, so I love to have my notebook and my pouch with my designs on them.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't
Well,
really make stuff for the whole world. I make it for me and whoever is in my orbit.
right. What a gift. Thank
Oh, in
you.
fact, I just found. Let's see. I'm trying. There's an app that the name of it will. Oh, it's called Dreamscope app, and so you can take an image and make it look in the style of Van Gogh, or do weird things with it. And so I'm having postcards made of this one,
Mm-hmm.
which you, people who know me can tell that it's me. You know who back when we were thinking about the future of the internet on the well, who would have thought about all of this stuff? I remember how scary it was to order a book from Amazon. I'm going
Yeah,
to put my credit card on the internet and somebody's going to send me something.
yeah, yeah. Have you dabbled with Dolly or Midjourney yet?
I just touched on it. I tried to make a psychedelic Howard Rheingold, but apparently they don't recognize Howard Rheingold, so I haven't.
No, I see. You can upload your own image. I would do that.
Oh, I didn't know
Start
that.
with, yeah, start with your own image and then have it in the style of whatever. So yes, there
You
are
know
ways.
who's doing fantastic stuff is Bruce Sterling
Oh yeah?
on Twitter.
Okay.
He like has things like the human condition.
Well,
He
your
just
your postcard reminded me of the kind of stuff that this produces. So
he's discovered that they all make your fingers, they all make fingers look long and abnormal and sausage. So he's kind of discovering the bugs in the whole idea.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, it was great. I love your creativity, Howard. Thank you for sharing it with us and your generosity. It's very inspiring. I wish you best, and we should get together and do a walk.
Anytime.
Alrighty. Thank
Take
you.
care.
We're glad that you enjoyed this issue of the Cool Tools Show and Tell. Just want to remind you that we have some other coolish material on our YouTube channel here. Please subscribe, comment, like. In addition, this Cool Tools Show and Tell is also available in an Audible podcast form. You can subscribe to it wherever you subscribe to other podcasts if you just wanted to listen. And if you're listening, know that there is a visual version of this on our YouTube channel where we're actually showing the tools, and there's a little bit more of a visual component there. In addition, the same folks that put us, the Cool Tools website out, we also put out a free newsletter every week. It's very, very short. It's 1 page or less. We recommend 6 very brief items that are very succinct, easy to read. You can deal with it in a couple minutes. And every week we bring to you the 6 cool things that we have uncovered and want to share. And it's called Recommendo with 1 M, recommendo.com. You'll be able to find it there. It's free. Join 50,000 plus other subscribers every Sunday morning. You'll get it in your email box. And it's actually one of the most popular things that we produce. But we do produce other newsletters as well. One of them is called What's in Your Bag. We have one that goes out to tools and tips for your workshop. So you can get those at our website, and they're also free. And finally, I want to mention the fact that we do have a Patreon, and this podcast and this vidcast are supported by Patreon supporters. The minimum is $1 a month. And for that, you get an email to ask us anything. We'll respond and answer your question if we're able to. There are other higher levels. You can all see those at our Patreon page. And all those links are below right here. So thank you again for being a fan. And we'll keep producing stuff if you enjoy it. Thanks. Thank you to this week's patrons, who include John Omer, Andrew Smith, Tom Hanks, Michael Brisson, Steve Golden, Nick Gray, Cindy Sherman, Thomas Off, Rel Deshaw, and Sean Levine. Thank you all.